FG to launch $617 million investment in digital creative enterprises program in November.
With this funding, what it means is that not only are we going to be a leader in the region, we actually want to be a leader globally.
No plans to increase fuel price. NNPC retail assures Nigerians. Food sufficiency, Ministry of Agriculture to aggressively fund 2023-2024 dry season farming.
We know the expectations of Nigerians for agriculture and food security to work in this country.
What's the cause of Mohbad's death? Lagos Commissioner of Police reports on investigation so far.
5 suspects have so far been identified, arrested and detained and interrogated on their alleged roles in the sequence of events that led to the death of this singer.
Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA this Friday. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Adiola Komiakiri will join us from Lagos. Determined to deliver on the promise of creating millions of jobs in the technology space, the federal government has proposed November 2023 to launch more than $617.7 million investment in digital and creative enterprises, the iDice program. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the marching order to members of the iDice steering committee, asking them to make sure the program starts before the end of November this year. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Emphasizing the importance of the initiative to federal government's digital job drive, Vice President Kashim Shettima said the Tinubu administration is keen on delivering on its promises to Nigerians, urging all partners in the program to ensure judicious utilization of the funds. He said the challenges facing the country demands job creation for teeming youth to address the crisis associated with youth unemployment. The program, which is expected to ensure inclusivity by judiciously utilizing the funds, the Vice President assured the Technical Committee of support towards actualizing job creation and economic growth.
He is very keen that the promise of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, particularly to the youth, that it is met, the creation of 1.2 million digital jobs. This $617 million project will go a long way to achieving the President's priorities of job creation and economic growth.
And with this funding, what it means is that not only are we going to be a leader in the region, we actually want to be a leader globally. And there's no other way to do that but by investing in the technology startups that are building this solution. So the government is putting its skin in the game to say we want to support. We want to see more local companies building, and there's no other way to show that support but by putting money down and investing in the companies.
It will cover the digital area, the creative area, and entertainment area, especially the areas that the youth are interested. So this is actually for the youth, people below 35.
With this commitment, the federal government is hoping that some new unicorns are going to emerge from the program. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the European Union has given reassurance of its relentless support for the development policies and programs of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Managing Director of the European Union's External Action Service, Rita Larahinia, gave the assurance when she briefed Vice President Kashim Shettima on the forthcoming ministerial dialogue to be held in October 19, 2023. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President Stanley Nkwocha, the federal government has reiterated Nigeria's resolve to remain open to interventions which work, adding that mutual and beneficial partnerships remain the utmost in President Tinubu's foreign policy directive. The statement maintains that the Tinubu administration remains a breath of fresh air, despite its current share of challenges. And Vice President Shettima calls on the EU to join hands with the Tinubu administration to create more jobs in the digital world, as the EU agenda perfectly blends with the 8-point agenda of the Tinubu administration. Meanwhile, Larahinia is in the country ahead of the ministerial dialogue with Nigerian officials billed to take place on October 19. A training program on ICT and financial crimes control has been convened by the House of Representatives Committee on Financial Crimes in collaboration with the Brick Mount Concept Services, with the aim of encouraging Nigerians to surf the net responsibly and expose suspicious online activities. Joshua Ogunjide reports.
Research shows that over 17,600 bank customers in Nigeria have been defrauded of their hard-earned income, as commercial banks lost a cumulative of 15 billion naira to electronic fraud in the year 2018. Hence the exigency to sensitize agencies of government on ICT and financial crimes control for an effective economic and social security growth of the nation.
At the end of the training, they must have enriched themselves in both cybercrime, how to fight against cybercrime and other financial crimes.
Participants from NTA and other agencies were also exposed to sectoral analysis of economic and financial crimes, as well as measures taken so far by successive governments in curbing financial and economic crimes and the attendant establishment of anti-corruption agencies.
From time to time, with the Servicom, we know all of these things, and we are encouraging staff to dissociate from matters that can result to economic or financial crime.
There is a lot of unawareness from the people that are defrauded, and sometimes there is also greed because of what has been presented to them that are fake.
Measures that governments have taken so far to combat financial crime were also discussed and exposed, and the various legislations and acts that have been put in place.
Yeah, when I get to my institution, I will organize a workshop, especially for the students, to tell them the implication of financial crime.
Holistic interventions in terms of community-based solution and government strategic policy intervention, they agree, must be sustained for a better Nigeria. In Abuja, Joshua Ogunjide, NTA News.
NNPC Retail, a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, says it has no intention of increasing petrol pump price as is being widely speculated. A statement signed by the management of the retail company assures Nigerians that NNPC Retail will continue to provide best quality products at the most affordable price to its teeming customers across the country. And to food security, the Ministry of Agriculture has unveiled a food security roadmap towards ensuring food self-sufficiency of the country. The ministry will also aggressively fund the 2023-2024 dry season farming. Musa Aliu has the details.
Population growth, inflation, low yield, flood and soil infertility were some of the factors confronting food production in Nigeria. Abubakar Kyari and Aliu Sabi Abdullahi were tasked by the president to bring positive changes in the nation's national food system.
We know the expectations of Nigerians for agriculture and food security to work in this country. We have committed ourselves to helping Mr. President to deliver his promise of renewed hope to Nigerians.
Under the short-term measures, the ministry will provide incentive for dry season farming targeting 70,000 hectares, expansion and blending of appropriate fertilizer to support this year's dry season farming. The ministry will also carry out reforms in research, seeds and development of livestock value chain. This will include synergy between the Ministry of Agriculture and that of Water Resources towards ensuring adequate provision of irrigation of farmlands for all year-round food production.
To this end, the ministry is in the process of carrying out a robust stakeholder analysis that will produce a working stakeholder map showing who does what, where and how, and what are the mutually beneficial areas for the smallholder farmers, large-scale farmers, processors, marketers, and the organized private sector.
This will include synergy between the Ministry of Agriculture and that of Water Resources, thus ensuring adequate provision of irrigation of farmlands for all year-round food production. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
And of course, one cannot separate agriculture from business, and Benny Adams is standing by to bring us new happenings in the world of business. Benny?
Thank you, Naja, and welcome to Business. The World Trade Organization, WTO, has lowered the 2023 trade growth forecast. WTO forecast that the volume of world merchandise trade is now expected to grow by 0.8% this year. However, it said the 8.3 growth projected for 2024 remains nearly unchanged from the previous estimate. The WTO further expects real-world GDP to grow by 2.6% at market exchange rates for 2023 and by 2.5% in 2024. The WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said strengthening the global trading frameworks by avoiding protectionism and fostering a more resilient and inclusive global economy by members is sure way out of the negative trend. And President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia has called on African countries to invest in digitalization if the continent is to grow its economies faster, declaring the 2023 Digital Government African Summit open in Chongwe, Zambia. The president, alongside former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, expressed the belief that digitalization will promote trade, job creation and efficiency in service delivery.
To invest in digitization. If we don't, Prime Minister, you are right. The risk is that we'll be left behind. And when we are left behind, we will be a distant behind, because it will be difficult to interact with others that are digitized, to trade with them.
And we can already see from what some governments are doing that they're getting ahead of the game and starting to gear up for this revolution.
And a quick look at the markets. In the week ended today, Nigeria's equities market declined by 0.17% as market recorded more days of negative closes. A total of 374 million shares in 6,822 deals corresponding to a market value of 8.9 billion naira were traded. Today's data shows 5% improvement in volume, 138% improvement in turnover, but 2% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 36.5 trillion naira. United Bank for Africa recorded the highest volume of 52.4 million traded shares, followed by Fidelity Bank, 49.7 million, and Boa Cement, 45.1 billion. Well,
it's nice to know you're still watching NTA News. The National Broadcasting Commission is again alerting broadcasters on their responsibility to manage guests on their stations from time to time. In a statement, the Director General of the NBC, Balarabe Shehu Ilela, observes with concern the preponderance of incendiary remarks allowed on a particular television station and calls for broadcasters to adhere to the ethics of the profession in line with the code of the practice. The NBC counsels presenters not to express their opinions, to be accurate with facts, be above inherent biases, prejudices, and subjective mindsets, and avoid hate speech, derogatory and divisive remarks. He reminds broadcast stations of relevant sections. The NBC reminds broadcast stations of relevant sections of the Broadcasting Code, stating that henceforth stations will be held liable for any infraction on their platforms. To defense matters now, comprehensive kinetic and non-kinetic military operations are on to eradicate the current wave of kidnapping in parts of the North Central and Northwest. The Minister of Defense State, Mohammed Bello, stated this shortly after the induction of Course 32 at the National Defense College. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
This symbolic ceremony officially signifies the inauguration of these 108 officers for the National Defense College Course 32.
Here in the National Defense College Nigeria, emphasis is placed on solving national problems through the employment of all instruments of state power, not just the military. As such, we focus on the total subordination of the military to civilian authority in a functional democratic society.
For the past 31 years, the institution has championed the development of research-based solutions to state and regional security challenges.
We are doing all our best to make sure that we curtail the issue of this insecurity as soon as possible. I assure you, within limited time, you are going to see the progress be made by our Nigerian security agencies.
What we're having in Nigeria today is not just a situation of insecurity that requires military intervention, but it's a challenge that we have that can be addressed through good governance.
Participants from allied nations commended Nigeria for its role in stabilizing the region.
It's become a global world, so meeting different people will obviously help foster bonding and working together.
I will be attending the course to get some knowledge about the Nigerian army and the military.
The National Defense College, Nigeria's apex military training institution, established in 1992, has so far graduated 31 courses, with participants drawn from Nigeria and allied nations including Brazil, Germany and India. From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Closely related to defense and security on a humanitarian level, the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, says Zamfara State will benefit from the social safety net of the federal government as she advocates for collaborative effort to address the rising humanitarian crisis in the state. Dr. Edu made the remark during a one-day official visit to the state capital, Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The protracted security challenge being faced by Zamfara State results in massive displacement of many rural communities with monumental negative consequences on their socio-economic well-being. A 50-year-old Hawa Ohaliru of Rijar's Akardawa village in Gusau local government area of the state, whose husband and 4 children were killed by bandits about 2 years ago and left with 3 daughters-in-law and 6 grandchildren, is one out of many of these victims. A relief has, however, eventually come to the widow and members of her family as she makes the list of 40 households to benefit from the housing units constructed by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons to cater for the IDPs in Zamfara State.
Zamfara State faces formidable security challenges, and these challenges can only be resolved through effective collaboration with federal government, neighboring states, and all stakeholders in matters of security.
We want to call on the international community to join forces with the federal government of Nigeria and of course the state government to see that we can adequately respond to the humanitarian crisis in this area.
The minister also flagged up the distribution of relief materials comprising food and non-food items to the IDPs. Meanwhile, the Humanitarian Affairs Minister was at the Federal University Gusau campus, where she interacted with the management and the recently rescued kidnapped female students of the institution. The minister and her entourage had earlier paid a courtesy visit to Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal at the Government House Gusau, where she assured that people of the state will benefit maximally from various interventions under the social safety net of the federal government in line with the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And still on interventions, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has released funds for the reconstruction of collapsed bridges and the reconstruction of critical road infrastructure across the country. The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, made this known while inaugurating committees expected to monitor the integrity of works in selected highways to set the pace for concrete road construction in Nigeria. Abdullahi Mohammed tells us more.
I want to say that the committees task force are inaugurated to perform the works that God and man assigned them to do to the glory of God.
To the glory of God and the benefit to humanity. These experts will be the eyes of the people when contractors set out to reconstruct using concrete the Bini Wari Highway a section of East-West Road, as well as Eleme Junction on a port road in Port Harcourt.
We are doing all our projects, new projects on concrete. Let it be known that is our policy. Any contractors that cannot cope is not compulsory.
And more roads in need of intervention will get their turn as liquidity becomes available.
260 projects that need very immediate and quick intervention across the entire 36 states and FCT. They were from the motions of the National Assembly, they were the outcry from the public, they were the compilation from the controllers of this, of our states. And so we compiled them, and the total cost is 270 billion. We've sent it to Mr. President, the National Assembly is aware.
The Third Mainland Bridge's integrity is also to be put to test, with Carter and Liverpool bridges in Lagos also following.
Over the years, there have been a lot of laying of asphalt, unregulated. That project is designed to have just 5 cm of overlay of asphalt, but it's carrying between 10 to 30 cm of overlay of asphalt. That is not desirable.
3 other bridges that collapsed in the East-West corridor are to be reconstructed immediately. In Abuja, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
The federal government has reiterated its commitment to prioritizing the well-being of adolescents towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, said this at the 2023 Global Forum for Adolescents in Abuja. Basi Itaipang was there for NTA News.
Adolescents want a better future and a place that we can express our feelings and our thoughts about life.
To be clearly understood. When they're expressing themselves, they need people that know what they're talking about.
She needs attention from both parents sometimes, especially the mother. Doesn't go outside to ask and gets wrong answers, which can lead to destruction.
These needs of the adolescents and their roles as future leaders is a reason for this forum. It is also aimed at increasing awareness as well as sustaining financial commitments for adolescent-friendly services.
Coming together to identify government commitments as it relates to adolescent health and track it and then advocate for implementation of policies and ensuring that there's more funding for the well-being of adolescents as well as of women and children in Nigeria.
The minister who joined the forum virtually says Nigeria recognizes the challenges of adolescent health and the need to step up interventions for the young people, also supported by other speakers.
As well as to ensure that we have a disaggregated data that collects the better understandings that adolescents are having in terms of challenges and the opportunities to ensure that adolescent well-being are integrated in adolescent-specific way.
The issue of gender-based violence and education of the girl child dominated discussions at the forum. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
Some leaders of the River State chapter of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, have endorsed the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and two-term governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, as a leader of the party. This was during a visit by a delegation of the State Working Committee to the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
APC's performance in PDP-dominated Rivers State in the last presidential election, many believe is a feat soaked in political paradox. It, however, begins to make perfect sense when these leaders say one of the factors that led to the party's unprecedented victory in the state was the influence of the then governor and now minister of the FCT. The delegation appealed to the national chairman not to be distracted by those they referred to as pretenders, masquerading as genuine members who abandoned the party at its time of need.
So whether you are party O, party B, party C, so we can call the shots today. And he works with you, sir, at the federal cabinet. Please, when you want to contact us for our dues, our appointments, please reach him. He will reach us. Is that not correct?
The national chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje urged them to ensure they explore instruments of reconciliation and put the party in order ahead of future elections in the state and the country at large.
We have received your address, and the party will come in and see how we can get a solid party leadership in Rivers State so that we can move forward. But what we are begging, do not overheat the system.
This is the third delegation the national chairman is receiving from Rivers State on the platform of the Governing All Progressives Congress since assumption of office. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Congratulations are in order as President Bola Tinubu extols the virtues of his longtime ally, confidant and present Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Honorable Dele Alake, on the occasion of his 67th birthday. In a statement, the President cherishes Alake's patriotism and unwavering dedication to service, as well as the close relationship they have shared over the span of 4 decades. President Tinubu affirms that Dele Alake possesses uncommon versatility and strength of character, which leaves a lasting impression on everyone he encounters, imparting the true essence of loyalty, trust, respect, and empathy. The President thanks the accomplished public servant for his loyalty over the years, both in times of triumph and in times of difficulty. President Tinubu also offers heartfelt prayers seeking divine guidance and success for the Honorable Minister in his new assignment. Let's now join Adiola in Lagos for more reports on the network news. Hello, Adiola.
Jato. The Lagos State Police Command has released an interim investigation report on the death of Mohbad. 5 suspects in connection with the deaths of a Nigerian singer have been interrogated by the police, while 26 other witnesses testified against the suspects with written testimonies that are highly evidential. Commissioner of Police Lagos State Idowu Owohunwa disclosed this at the police headquarters in Ikeja, Lagos. Diana Ajali has the details.
The unfortunate deaths of Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, 12 September 2023, triggered wide suspicions on circumstances surrounding his deaths and allegations of complicity of some personalities. The public outcry led to the Nigeria Police Force Lagos State Command, led by Commissioner of Police Idowu Owohunwa, to inaugurate a special investigations team with the main task to unraveling the circumstances surrounding the deaths of the musician. This led to the arrest of 5 suspects involved, including the prime suspect, one Miss Feishayo Ogedingbe, a freelance nurse who was invited by Mohbad's friend Ayobami Sadiq aka Spending to treat him.
The summary is as follows. Miss Feishayo Ogedingbe is the auxiliary nurse who was contacted and invited by Ayobami Sadiq aka Spending, a friend of Mohbad, and administers 3 different injections, which are believed to have occasioned the chain of reactions that directly resulted in the eventual death of the singer. She is the principal suspect in the death of Mohbad. She acknowledged that it was the injections that she administered on the deceased that triggered the reactions which eventually led to Mohbad's death.
Other suspects include Abdulaziz Adeshino, popularly known as Naira Marley, and Samsi Balogu aka Sam Larry, both of whom were out of the country at the time of Mohbad's death. The Commissioner of Police has urged the general public to disclose any relevant information connected to the case. He also reassured Nigerians that the law would take its course. In Lagos, Diana Aja, NTA News.
Solutions emanating from Africa can be used to solve global problems. The U.S. Consul General Will Stevens made the remark at the 2023 Mandela Washington Fellowship Reunion, a flagship program of the U.S. government's Young African Leaders Initiative. Bolaji Akim reports that the program has brought nearly 6,500 young leaders from every country in sub-Saharan Africa to the U.S. for academic and leadership training.
Have a desire to engage.
The U.S. Integrated Strategy for Africa serves as a project aimed at supporting democratic government institutions, boost economic prosperity, and citizens' security. About 60 young Nigerians took part in 2023 edition of the Mandela Washington Fellowship exercise for 6 weeks in the United States of America.
Nigeria, for example, has an average age of 19. So if you're talking about how we engage with youth, this is about connecting them and helping them to relate to their peers in the United States and identify areas where they can work together. So the real pillars of democracy, right? Civil society.
To the new fellows, the experience has been an eye-opener. It equipped them with basic life skills that will last them a lifetime if judiciously applied, as well as a world of connectivity.
One of the things I've gained from the fellowship is networking with the U.S. professionals, getting to meet U.S. professionals to know what they do, and looking for how we can collaborate and partner together to also do a lot of work in Nigeria.
Has made me just rethink of how I want to do so many things. I want to be able to impact people's lives as well, the people that I'm working with, the people that work for the company. I want to be able to build their capacity so that they'll be able to do and run the business better.
The Mandela Washington Fellowship, founded in 2010, is a force for positive change that affords participants the opportunity to interact with over 10,000 alumni of the fellowship and bring to the fore various opportunities available to strengthen the stage for long-term engagement between the United States and Africa. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Energy, agriculture, transportation and housing have been identified again among sectors for critical consideration in the development aspirations of Nigeria. The Director General, National Automotive Design and Development Council, Jelani Aliu, noted this when he visited the University of Abuja. Christiana Akonde reports.
To these sectors in human and financial investment, the DG Automotive Council observed would ensure a better, more productive life for Nigerian state.
Every one of us has an important role to play. It's not about 1, 2, 3 people or a group of people with the responsibility to build a great nation. Building a nation does take a nation. Each and every one of us needs to play his or her role in making this country better.
The Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, Professor Abdulrashid Naala, spoke on the imperative for young Nigerians to be innovative for development and collaborate for the peace and prosperity of the nation.
How many industries are the universities bringing forth into our lives? I think there are a lot of failures, and really many of us thinkers and scholars must have to think through and break the ground for a new Nigeria.
In Abuja, Christiana Akonde, NTA News.
The chairman and chief executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, says the task of keeping modern society safe from the scourge of illicit drugs demands global commitment, as he gives assurance that Nigeria is doing everything possible to fulfill its own end of the bargain. Marwa stated this while addressing a gathering of academics, students, mental health professionals and Nigerians in the diaspora at the Jayhawk Welcome Center, University of Kansas in the United States, where he delivered a lecture on war against substance abuse and illicit trafficking, the Nigerian story.
Countries, the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Nigerian people have strengthened our conviction that the objective we pursue is not unrealistic. The task of keeping modern society safe from the scourge of illicit drugs requires a global commitment, and in NDLEA and Nigeria, we are doing everything possible to fulfill our end of the bargain.
Marwa highlighted some of the strategic steps taken to get positive results by the NDLEA, including the commissioning of a drug abuse teletherapy center. This toll-free call center has a round-the-clock help desk which drug users, families and associates can call for assistance and receive prompt attention from a team of counselors and mental health professionals. Nigerians and the diaspora community commend Marwa for his leadership skills and commitment to Nigeria and humanity. Commendation as well for the Nigerian Television Authority for the TV giant's role in strengthening Nigerian unity through its mission to project Nigeria and Africa positively. The commendation follows the visit of a four-man team from the African Leadership Organization led by the General Manager Elaiku Samuel to the management of the Nigerian Television Authority. Uyeyemi Ajayi reports.
We want to be part of your journey. The words of General Manager, African Leadership Organization, Elaiku Samuel, when he paid a courtesy visit to the management of the Nigerian Television Authority alongside members of his organization. Seeking partnership with NTA, the guest commended the largest television station in Africa for proper, well-researched and in-depth analysis evident in its contents, worthy of emulation by other media stations.
I want to see that with this collaboration, a new Nigeria emerge, where opportunity in the country is being showcased, and also want to see where leaders will be challenged, where the needful and the dividend of democracy is actually enshrined.
Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdul Hamid Dembos, represented by the Executive Director News, Ayo Adewuyi, emphasized that NTA will not relent in her mandate while making it clear the media station is not in competition with others.
We have to project the unity and progress of this country, project the policies and programs of government. There is no basis for competition because we have our mandate spelled out, okay? So, but people see us as competing, no.
The organization had nominated the NTA Director General to be inducted by the African Leadership Council at Global Africa Partnership in the United Kingdom. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Still to come, sports news. Do stay tuned.
What I know you have done is that my hands, your hands, you have given it to our enemies. And it came to pass, and he was killed.
Will there be healing? Would you find healing anywhere within the fabrics of this nation? Do you think the North on its own can win an election in this country? You're very blunt.
Oh, yes.
And I want to ask you this question based on that bluntness. Is it true that the typical Fulani man never forgives? Let's talk about your relationship with Obasanjo. How do we tackle corruption such that, I like the way you're laughing. I'd like to take you up on this word called cabal. Who really are the cabals?
I don't know. Go and search for them.
Conversation with History with Sunny Zongo Daura.
Reform may be painful, but it is what greatness and the future require. We now carry the cost of reaching a future Nigeria where the abundance and fruit of the nation are fairly shared among all, not hoarded by a select and greedy few. A Nigeria where hunger, poverty, and hardship are pushed into the shadows.
Governor Muhammad Inuwa Yahya of Gombe State has sworn in 17 commissioners to form the State Executive Council. Emmanuel Akila reports that other key government officials also took the oath of office alongside the commissioners.
Of the 17 commissioners, 5 are returned from the previous administration, while 12 are new.
Our strength as a people lies in our unity and diversity. I therefore urge you to work together as a team, transcending political, ethnic, and religious boundaries, so as to achieve our common objectives.
The commissioners pledged to work hard with focus on the overall objectives of the development of the state.
We know where you want to take Gombe. We'll go with you, we'll accompany you, we'll serve you with all honesty, loyalty, and integrity.
Ahmad Kamusu Abdullahi, who was acting head of civil service, also took oath of office as the head of civil service of the state. 12 newly appointed permanent secretaries were also sworn in. The governor assigned portfolios to the commissioners immediately they are sworn in, and that gives the people of Gombe State confidence that they will hit the ground running to justify the confidence reposed in them.
They are carefully selected by His Excellency. And you know, being the #1 citizen of Gombe, you know he has the concern of Gombe State in his heart.
Like to Frey, we don't have water. So we want the Commissioner of Water Resources to fasten the project.
In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Now for the happenings in the world of sports.
Nigeria's national men cricket team, the Yellow Greens, continues its impressive runs at the ongoing Four-Nation West African Trophy at the Tafawa Balewa Square Cricket Oval in Lagos. The team defeated Rwanda with 57 runs in 20 overs in the first match and overpowered Sierra Leone in the second match. The team also defeated arch rivals, the Ghanaian national team, in its third match of the competition.
And that develops the players, you know, it gives them that morale.
In football, the Nigerian Women Football League (NWFL), after its 2023 annual General Assembly held in Lagos, has approved the expansion of the Premiership to 16 clubs from 14 and Championship to 20 from 12. The Congress confirmed the promotion of Danas Ladies, Sunshine Queens, Lakeside Queens, and Ekiti Queens to the NWFL Premiership.
Our goal is to improve on the quality of the product.
In another development, board member and former chairperson of the Nigerian Women Football League, Aisha Falode, has been applauded by football stakeholders for the giant strides and transformational policies during her tenure from 2017 to 2022, which has led to a significant improvement in the Nigerian Women's Football League.
You must also have eye for quality, that is to develop the game.
In golf, a total of 8 countries are featuring in the ongoing West and Central African Challenge Trophy Ladies Golf Tournament at the Lakowe Golf Course in Lagos. Nigeria is the defending champions of the Biennial World Ranking Championship.
It's a very good development to being able to convince the R&A. We try to raise the golf among the ladies.
In boxing, Nigerian boxer Chiamaka Nwaturocha is talking tough ahead of her debut bout against Sarah of Benin Republic at the National Stadium Surulere, Lagos. She assured Nigerians of victory in the match slated for this Saturday.
My aim is to just give a knockout under 20 seconds.
Chiamaka also explained to NTA Sport that she is set to rewrite history of women boxing by bringing the World Boxing Federation belt to Nigeria. With sports update, Olumide Kuntola, NTA News.
And Chiamaka's 20-second knockout promise concludes the network news on NTA. On behalf of the production crew, have an excellent weekend.